Here on Paradise Island in the Bahamas, there's a storm a-brewing. We're getting quite a bit of thunder, and the sky is grey, and the energy and the atmosphere feels really charged, like we're going to get a fair amount of lightning and probably some heavy rain too. And I felt inspired because of that to speak to something that comes up quite a bit with the people that I work with, and that is to do with trying to wrap one's mind around truth. Now, over the years, I must have received, I don't know how many emails that go something along the lines of, hi Julie, thank you for this session. We had a great one-on-one session, and I felt light and expanded and inspired and on purpose and able to see clearly in the session. And then a day or two after, I tried to wrap my mind around what happened, and I just can't. And that kind of email I've had quite a few times from people who say that they're having difficulty trying to understand with the mind what the truth of being looks like and feels like, and so on. My response, depending on how long I've been working with someone, but it goes pretty much along the same lines, and that is, forget trying to wrap your mind around truth. It's impossible. And the best way of pointing to that is by saying, for example, when you love your spouse or your partner or your child or your parents, or when you love the beauty of the ocean or the beauty of the sky, or when you have a feeling of love that just comes up with no seeming outer form to reference, then there's a movement, and there's a sort of an overtaking or an overflowing of love. And it's very hard to put into words what love actually is. We can say it's an all over felt sense. We can say it's a quality of knowing. We can say there's a feeling of freedom and joy. We can say it feels marvelous. We can try and sort of apply all those descriptors to what love feels like and what we think love is. But in truth, it's almost impossible, it is impossible to put the quality and the feelings of love into words and into descriptors, because everything falls short. Everything just falls short. And we all know what that means and what that feels like. It's everybody's experience. It's everybody's direct experience that love is love, and there's really, it's hard to even say there's an analogy really, because there's no words. And that is the same with truth. What happens is, in the direct seeing, in the direct recognition of truth with a capital T, the mind completely gives up. The mind has nothing to say. The ego and any movement of thought just kind of collapses and dissolves into the pure knowing, or the pure I, or the pure seeing, which is self-recognizing itself in the form or the words or the teachings of someone who is presenting truth. And that is the truth. And we all know this. We've all had direct experience of this. We know what that feels like. We know when there's a resonance. We know that when what we're hearing is absolute truth. And of course, when it's the opposite, we really know and feel and can connect in and have this direct experience, this all over felt experience, which also, since it's supreme consciousness itself, it has the power and the capacity to completely change one's state and to expand and open up levels of awareness, new levels of awareness that were untapped or unseen before. And this is the truth. This is your experience, it's my experience, and it is the way grace moves through your life. It's the way awakening is given. It's the way one's consciousness opens up. It's the way that epiphanies, insights, and intuitions land when we're least expecting them. And there's complete freedom in the movement of Source itself. And what happens oftentimes is when we have a great shift or this movement or this capacity to see something, then there's a tendency, especially because of the way we've been trained in the West, to try and analyze it or figure it out with the mind. And we can really create these mind loops around that. And then we can also get into questioning and doubting our original direct experience and thinking that maybe we got it wrong, or maybe it wasn't real, or, you know, all of those things, because the mind starts to engage and tries to deconstruct what was seen and felt and heard. Don't try and wrap your mind around truth, because it's an impossibility. It's like trying to wrap your mind around love. It can't be done. What I would say is bow to, honor, cherish, and treasure when there's a resonance within you, when there's a recognition of truth within you, when there's an experience of direct seeing, when there is an experience of direct hearing, when there is a movement within you that speaks to, and offers an intuition, an inner tuition, an inner knowing, because all of that is Source, or the self itself, speaking to you as Source itself. You are that. So the important thing is to obviously, and this isn't about trying to get rid of the mind or sort of negate the mind. This is about honoring the mind, really understanding the mind, but realizing the mind is not king. So don't put it on a pedestal and believe that to know truth has to be understood by the mind, because it will that kind of seeking will lead you nowhere. This is why in India there's a tradition of pranam, where you place your hands together in front of your heart. And when you come before a deity, or when you come before an enlightened master, the practice is to get down on your hands and knees and place your head on the floor so that your head is lower and you're bending forward, and your head is lower than your heart. And this doesn't mean you're giving up reasoning or anything, or your critical faculties or any of those things. Obviously that's still in place. You still utilize all of those functions, but they are simply functions of the mind. They're not the highest. The mind doesn't have the capacity for the highest seeing and the highest knowing. This is really accessed through the gate of the heart, or the portal of the heart, or the space of the heart, or what the yogis call the heart of the great heart. So please trust that space of seeing and knowing, because it will never lead you astray. So as always, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave questions below. You can find me also on Instagram at Julie Hoyle Official. So be well, take it easy, keep shining bright, and I will see you soon. Bye.